So today I'm going to be installing the new height channel speakers from RBH Sound. I did an unboxing of all of the speakers that I'm going to be installing, and now the time has come to install the 4 height channels here in my tiny home theater. Now, as you've seen previously, I have currently 4 bookshelf speakers from Monoprice. It's their monolith bookshelf speakers, and these are their budget speakers. And I used a a converted TV mount to mount them to the ceiling, and they have actually worked quite well. As you know, I'm a big fan of using bookshelf speakers for height channels, just because, well, a few reasons. One, getting them angled directly at the main listening position, but then also when you open up bookshelf speakers to height channels, then you're basically opening up a virtually unlimited variety and options for height channels, because there are just so many bookshelf speaker types out there. So I'm going to be removing the monolith speakers and installing the RBH height channel speakers. So these RBH height channel speakers come with a mount included. You don't have to buy any extra hardware. And the way it works is it just has a panel on the back that mounts directly to the ceiling, and then you just slide your speaker onto it. So super easy, super straightforward. In my room, I do have a couple little wrinkles, a couple little challenges, and they mostly deal with the wiring. I ran wiring up into my attic and then down through the ceiling. And the way the RBH speakers are designed is you could, or ideally should, mount that plate flat up against the ceiling with the speaker wire coming down through the hole in the mount plate. Unfortunately, when I ran the speaker wire through the ceiling, I didn't know exactly where I wanted to put the RBH speakers, and also I honestly, I was kind of focused on the bookshelf speakers because that's what I was installing at the time. And so I wasn't really too concerned about where the wire came through the ceiling. I just kind of got it in the neighborhood because I knew that I had plenty of extra wire that I could pull in and out. And so I wasn't worried about it. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of adjustments on the wiring, and we'll see if that works. We'll see how that goes. So let's get into it. Let's first remove the 4 height channels that are currently up there so we can have a clean space to install the new ones. So I have used, like I mentioned, a TV mount that I repurposed as a mount for these bookshelf speakers, and it's worked really well. So if you're considering mounting bookshelf speakers to your ceiling, I highly recommend this mount. I'll put a link to it in the description box. So to remove it, first I'll have to adjust the speaker down a little bit so that I have room to slide it back after I loosen the set screw. So let's do that now. Boy, it's hard to see. I could use a little bit more height. Maybe I'll get that on, get a taller stool. Okay. There we go. There we go. It's real easy once you know what you're doing. I'd forgotten how to get those things off there. But yeah, there we go. That's the first one. So this is the challenge that I'm facing here. So I want the speaker to go basically like pretty much like right there. That's like the ideal place for it. But the speaker wire is behind that. And there's the hole in the back of the mounting plate that ideally the mounting plate should go behind the speaker, right? Like this. But that's not where I want the speaker. So I have to ask myself, would that be okay to put the speaker right there? Like, would that make sense? And I think it actually would. Okay, so that actually is not bad. Because actually, that actually is probably about a good place for the speaker to go. So, okay, so that's actually good news. So, and I'll be able to do the same thing on the back one so this is on the left side, and I'll be able to do the rear left the same way. So these speakers mount to the ceiling quite easily, shockingly easily. So they have this plate on the back, and it just slides out. It's very, very simple mechanism. It just slides straight out, and then it just removes, right? So then you have this plate. So you mount this plate to the ceiling, and then the speaker just slides right on. So let's get this thing mounted here. Now, I will say, I do need to point this out. So I love banana plugs. I'm a huge fan of banana plugs. And unfortunately, the way these speakers are designed, there's not enough room behind the speaker binding posts to allow banana plugs to insert into the speaker post. Unless, of course, you had like a large hole behind the speaker, in which case then it would work. But I have to admit, this is a super nitpicky thing about these speakers, because the main advantage of banana plugs is that you can unplug and plug them in very, very easily. So if you're moving cables around to different speakers, you're trying out different speakers, that's the advantage. Whereas a ceiling mounted speaker, how often are you actually going to be removing the speaker cable? Not often. So that is like, I mean, that is super nitpicky. So not a big deal at all. So yeah, let's get this thing mounted and see how it looks. Now, here's another tip. Anytime I'm messing with cabling like this, where cables will be unplugged, moved around, that sort of thing, I always unplug all of my electronics. Like, there is no power even being sent to the amplifiers, the AVR, sub, any of it. I unplug everything, because I've heard horror stories, never had it happen to me, thankfully, but horror stories about people, powered equipment, that they touch the positive and the negative, and it will short circuit their amp, blow their amp. I don't know if those are true or not. For me, it's a very simple thing to unplug everything and just be safe. So if you see these touching, it's not a big deal, because everything is unplugged on the other end. So now, to get this up here, I'm just going to center it over this speaker cable and then angle it towards the main listening position, and then mark where the 4 mounting screws will go. Make sure I get those in there correct. Yeah, well, that looks good. And it's nice, because these speakers come, I mean, they come fully ready to install. Like the speakers come with the mounting block, or plate, I should say. They also come with the mounting hardware. So they come with drywall screws and the screws to attach them. So it's all ready to go when you get it. So let's get this thing in here. These are the drywall screws that they include with the speaker. And I do love having drywall dust falling down in my face. That is my favorite thing. Not really. Okay. It's a small price to pay to have incredible sound. There we go. And last one. And once you've got them all in, that is the moment of truth when you hope everything lines up. So let's see how it looks. Get that one started and then I'll do the others. Make sure I get it where it needs to go. Oh yeah, that's perfect. And last one. Okay, and that is snug up against that ceiling. So now I will remove the banana plugs because they will not be used, or rather I should say they can't be used, but it's not a big deal. Now here's the thing, here's the silver lining to a lack of banana plugs is that the speaker binding posts on these speakers are spring loaded. So some speakers you have to just sit there and twist them and twist them and twist them and twist them. These, fortunately, you don't. They're just push in place, so to speak. So we'll do, and I'm sorry I don't have a great video angle to show you this, but I'm sure you're probably familiar with how a speaker wire is connected to a speaker. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. And then once you've got the speaker wire connected, you just feed it back up into the ceiling, tuck it up in there, center the speaker over the plate, and then slide it forward like so, nice and snug. And there is the speaker. That is beautiful. Look at that. Oh, this is so sharp. So the speaker flush mounted to the ceiling, no gap. Also, thanks to my brother Forrest, I ran the speaker wires down through the ceiling instead of up on the wall. And so that is, you don't get any cleaner than that. That is just absolutely beautiful. Perfect. Okay, I got all 4 height speakers installed. They are done. And okay, a few things. One, I mentioned at the beginning that I had a challenge with the cabling where it drops down through the ceiling, and that I was going to have to figure out a way to get the cabling over to where I wanted the speaker to go. Crazy circumstances. I don't know how this happened. Where the speaker wire dropped through on all 4 speakers turned out to be a perfect location to mount the speaker. That was happenstance. I did not plan that. That was accidental. In the words of my dad, as he used to like to say, must be living right, son. So that was awesome. I was super happy about that. So that made it even easier. Second thing, these speakers are super easy to install. I was anticipating that they would be fairly straightforward. They were so much easier than I even anticipated, which is very rare. Usually things are more difficult than you anticipate. Like you saw in the video, right? Like you just mount the plate where you want it to go, and then you just slide the speaker onto that plate. It really is an ingenious design. It's so simple and elegant and just super easy. So well done, RBH, on the mounting solution. So now they're installed. I can't wait to try them out. But first I have to install, well, first I have to remove the sides and surrounds, the bookshelf speakers, the monoliths, and then get the sides and surrounds mounted on the walls, and then get the mains installed. The center, those will be easy. Obviously, you just plunk them down. Subwoofer, I've already got the sub set where I want it to go ultimately. So this project's coming together. This is the first step. And honestly, the height speakers were going to be they are the most difficult and most complicated. They turned out to be super easy, so I can only imagine how much easier everything else is going to be. Stay tuned, and thanks for watching.